Welcome to my introductory video. If you're seeing this, you probably saw Pandemonium's video tour of my van and then subscribe to my channel at least early on. And my first video is just going to be a photo essay of the first year and a half leading up to me actually living in my van and traveling around, becoming a nomad. So it starts off, I'm married, living on a farm, and living the farm life. I shot some video yesterday at Navarro Beach introducing my first video, my first YouTube video, but the wind noise was so bad that a lot of it was just incoherent. So I'm going to fill in the story with this video. My wife left June 30th, 2015 in the only street legal registered vehicle that we owned. The next day, 20 to 25 pigs had escaped into the neighbor's cornfield, and I couldn't get them back into their pastures. So you'll see some dramatic and very traumatic pictures of that, representing that time frame. I spent 30 days hunting them and shooting. I shot a lot of pigs that I knew personally. We named our pigs, we pet them, we gave them a lot of personal attention. They were friends, and they had a purpose on the farm. They did produce meat as a food source, but to just go out and shoot them for no other reason than they got away out into the field and you couldn't get them back in. I was at my wit's end. I had so much going on during that period. I was trying to build fences, a permanent paddock area to keep the pigs in because I couldn't manage them by myself. There were 150 meat chickens that we had that were ready to be butchered, that I butchered myself alone. I was still having to feed animals, so that meant going to Blue and Gray Brewery, where I worked in Fredericksburg, to rake out their mash tun, which is where they boil the grains as the first process of making beer. Then I would go an hour and a half drive to an Amish community to have a custom feed mix made for me that would create a balanced diet for the pigs. I was starting the chickens on that same process, but so, and then in the middle of it all, I was trying to also work so that I could pay the mortgage on the farm, sell the meat at farmers markets and to a restaurant, so, and pack and sort and try to figure out what was going on in my life. It was dramatic. It was dramatic. In the process of all this, I decided to head down to my aunt's 80th birthday party in Florida. I hadn't been off the farm in 8 years except for an occasional night, very few nights, overnights, and one 3-day seminar, farming seminar I went to, and then everything else that was happening in my life, I just decided my sanity was worth more than anything that was there on the farm. So I went down to her birthday party and came back from that a little refreshed, still just burned out from it all. Went back down for Thanksgiving, a month and a half later, something like that, 2 months later. We had a farm truck with farm use tags on it that is an unregistered vehicle, which in Virginia you're allowed to drive within 50 miles of your farm property while taking care of farm business. I drove that truck around illegally, going to work and everything else. I was working for a friend and contractor in Richmond, and so I scrambled around and got my motorcycle roadworthy and licensed and tagged and registered, and so I did a lot of motorcycle riding at the beginning because that was the only form of transportation I had. At that point, I was mentally and physically shattered. My sister is a therapist, so I'd been talking with her a lot. Thank God she was there for me. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done, but she invited me to California, so I came out to California and for 3 weeks, and we hung out, and we went from Southern California down San Diego area all the way up to Mendocino for Christmas time at my brother's house and visited with his family. And during Christmas time, my brother mentioned that he was trying to buy his partner out on a piece of land that he owns. So I offered up that I would be willing to invest in it. And one thing led to another. He had figured on 3 more years of work before he decided before he would retire. And the land had a cabin on that I could live in for free. So the concept of buying into his piece of land and living out here and working out here for a few years resonated with me. I was looking for an adventure to get away from Virginia and everything that was going wrong in my life. So I agreed to commit to 3 years and invest in his property. So my sister and I left Northern California and headed down and through Joshua Tree and for New Year's and down through Slab City. You'll see pictures of Slab City. And then I went back to Virginia, and now I had 3 months to get everything together and move to California. Suddenly there was an even bigger time crunch and a lot more work that needed to get done. I was only going to move from the farm in Virginia to another property 50 miles away, if that. So it wasn't a big deal. I was going to move a lot of stuff over there. I ended up having to get rid of a lot of stuff. Sold most of the stuff at auction at an auction house. Didn't get anything for it. During that period, from when I got back from California at Christmas time to when I moved to California, we also had 3 major snowstorms and a large tornado storm cell came directly over the farmhouse and touched down within a mile or two, and continued on for 28 miles in a big swath of destruction. Pretty incredible. And then bought a U-Haul truck, which is what you see me living in now. Had to rebuild a 16-foot trailer that I had. I had to rewire it, put new bearings in it, new brakes and hubs, and new tires on it. Loaded up my tractor, 2 motorcycles, kitchen, enough housewares to set up a small living facility for myself, and got in the U-Haul and zipped across country. Got here late March on a Saturday, and I was working on Sunday morning delivering, picking up some crates or some pallets and for my brother, and delivering them to where he needed them to go. So I didn't get a whole lot of time other than Christmas time, but to really process everything that was going on. So that brings you up to date to me living in California, and then next I'll talk about how I ended up in my van, but I'll save that for another video. So in case you're wondering, this is Noyo Beach, south of Mendocino. I stayed here last night. It's you can see it's overcast, the wind's blowing, and it's cold. So we're getting ready to leave here as soon as I get done with this series of videos.